So you would like to get into concealed carry. Well, there are a few things that you're going to need to consider. You're going to need to consider your body type. You're going to need to consider your vocation. You're going to need to consider your clothing style, and you're going to need to consider your price range. So let's start with, first and foremost, your size. Something that everybody is familiar with is that there are tall people, there are short people. There are larger people, and there are more slender people. Whichever category you fall into, you'll either have a harder time or an easier time concealing a firearm. So when you're concealing a firearm as a smaller person, you typically can't dabble too much into your full-size frames. If you're a larger person, a taller person, it's a little easier for you to start dabbling into that upper echelon of larger framed pistols. You will also have your vocation. Your vocation is a big part of it, because if you're going to consider carrying all day long, you walk out that door, it's on you, you come back in the door and it's still on you, and some people still carry around their house. So depending on how long you're going to carry, your vocation will play a large role in how you will carry and where you will carry. For instance, you have roofers, bricklayers, people who throw pavers, pour concrete. Those kinds of vocations will make it very difficult for you to carry appendix, because you're going to be quite often leaning over, and if you have even like a Glock 19 or a carry version of a SIG, it's going to be a little uncomfortable to try to pivot and bend around your pistol. If you're going to be at a job where you're sitting down all day, appendix may not be for you because it can be uncomfortable. It goes down to setups and preferences at that point, because there are some individuals who will carry an appendix holster and they don't even notice it's there. And I know that for what I do, I have to do a large portion of driving, and oftentimes I'll have my concealed carry on me. So it depends on what you're doing, what your preferences are. Just some things that you'll need to consider as far as that. Then you have to consider your clothing style. So there are individuals that, for what they have to do, they will wear a polo, they will wear a tucked in dress shirt. Some individuals, they can go with casual attire, they can wear a t-shirt, or even an untucked polo can act the same as a t-shirt. And then you have suits. So depending on what your clothing style is will also dictate how and where you can carry. I have to wear a suit, and whenever I do wear a suit, I typically do not go with appendix carry, because me being a smaller framed individual, if I start packing things around my appendix, my setup will be more noticeable whenever I'm wearing a suit. So that's whenever I switch to an outside the waistband and I carry it around the 5 o'clock position. Then you have to consider your price range. Your price range dictates a lot of what you can do, because it's going to dictate the firearm, but it's also going to dictate your setup. One of the biggest things that I recommend is that you consider your setup inside of the cost of your gun as a whole. So say you can only afford $600. Start with your setup. Make sure you have a quality setup, because a quality setup is going to make a concealed carry experience a lot more comfortable, and it will make it a lot more enjoyable. Because a poor concealed carry option, for instance, Those fabric holsters that you can get from your local gun shop, those are not good options. You want something with retention. So get you a good quality setup. Good quality companies out there exist. There are good quality companies out there that make some really good holsters. I'm going to say I would look into Tier 1 Concealed. I would look into QVO Tactical. I would look into LAS Concealment. Those are 3 really good companies right there. But take into account the price of your setup in accordance with the price of the firearm. So if you can only afford $600, spend usually around 100 to 150 depending on your setup. It's usually about 100 to 150 for some good quality holsters. Add that to your total overall cost. So that way you're considering your firearm, but you're considering your setup as well. So your important things that you need to remember is that you need to consider your size or your frame. You need to consider your vocation, what you do, if you're going to be carrying all day. You need to consider your outfit choices, because it is a lot easier to dress around, to buy a firearm that fits into what you're comfortable dressing around, because that makes your experience so much better. And then also you need to consider your price range. And inside of that price range, consider your setup as a vital aspect to the overall purchase. A little tactical tip: if you are doing appendix carry, wedges go a long way. I think that wedges are the most underrated aspect to appendix carry. So if you are carrying an appendix and you are having a difficulty with concealing your firearm, look into a wedge. I'm going to show you a couple of my appendix carries that I have. So this is my Glock 17. This is my first pistol, and it is also my first gun that I actually concealed carried. Yes, I am a small individual and I concealed a Glock 17. It did take quite a bit of dressing around, but it was this setup where I learned how important a wedge is. So I had not purchased a wedge for this holster at all, but my next holster setups I had purchased wedges for. So this setup is the one that I have the hardest time concealing with. I can still conceal it, but I still have a difficulty concealing this one. As you can see, there is no wedge. Then we have my second holster that I have a big honkin' wedge on. And this is my Staccato P in an MSP holster. I will say this is one of my favorite setups because I can carry a full-size pistol and I do enjoy carrying a full-size pistol because you have a lot more advantages. Personally, I think you get better accuracy and better ballistics out of a longer barrel. Could be just me, but I think I have a few more facts to line that up. But then we have my favorite conceal carry option. That is my Axis Elite with a small wedge and my Glock 48. So this is my favorite pistol to conceal carry because of how slender it is and because of its overall length and size. And it is a light pistol to conceal carry for sure. But yes, this is my favorite one. And I did go with the Shield Arms mags because the Shield Arms mags allow me to have 15. I even have their extension, not had a single problem with them. So I'm obviously going to keep using them. But I do like my MSP series holster, Modern Samurai Project. That is, I can switch my Surefire X300 light from my Staccato P, and I can put it on my Glock 17, and I can use that one holster interchangeably between two firearms. Just about every gun from here on out that I get, a pistol, is going to have an X300 on it, because I want to be able to use this one holster from now until the end of eternity, because I like saving money. But that being said, I think we've covered just about everything on a basic level. There's a lot more information that we could cover, but this is just a basic overview. I think that wraps up this video. If you have any questions, throw it in the comment section below. I will answer them 100%. So with that, y'all have a great one.